So a very good morning, Mr. Ramesh Kumar Soni, and I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing well too. And thank you for accepting our invitation to be a part of our Next Gen Entrepreneurs Beyond Dream series. And to give a brief about Mr. Ramesh Kumar Soni, he's the co-founder and CEO of Vayujal Technologies. And about Vayujal, it's an IIT Madras incubated company. It's founded in 2017, and they are proprietary nanotechnology-based atmospheric water generator, or the AWGs are personalized on-demand water generators, so they can generate and produce quality drinking water whenever and wherever required, thus eliminating the dependence on other water sources. And interestingly, Biogel has also received the Water and Hygiene Warriors Award in the Mission Pani Waterthon for the installation of the AWG units. So we are very happy to have you with us today, and we'd like to hear from you more about yourself and your entrepreneurship journey. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayuri. We started this work in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we had some initial work done before 2017 in year 2015 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was that if you look at the 15, 20 years ahead,
Mm-hmm.
the data suggests that we will be running out of water.
Mm-hmm.
The per capita requirement and the per capita availability will
Yes.
be reversed. Like today, we have surplus amount of water available per capita. By 2040, we will not have that.
Mm-hmm.
In such a scenario, we will have water sources. We will not have lake or canal or river as a water source,
Mm-hmm.
but sewage water as our water source,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And second would be atmospheric water.
Mm-hmm.
So today we are working like in India, there are a lot of people working towards how do we make sewage water as like drinking water and
Mm-hmm.
then used for other purposes also. But
Mm-hmm.
we also need to look at key additional to the sewage water, we cannot have sewage water at all the places,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In Chennai city, I can have sewage water, but
Yes.
at a remote installation which is done by, let's say, a automobile manufacturer 50 kilometers away from
Mm-hmm.
Chennai,
Mm-hmm.
they really do not have sewage water. They'll have to lay
Yes.
down piping, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
even if it took little more remotely, then we will not have sewage water at certain places in India.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
then, and today, even today, we have problem of groundwater availability in many pockets of India.
Yeah.
So for such kind of places or for such kind of scenarios, we need to
Mm-hmm.
look at water sources, not sewage water or
Mm-hmm.
not this surface water or groundwater. So that is the only water is atmospheric water.
Mm-hmm.
Today in our atmosphere, we have approximately 1.4 million liters of water. Right?
Okay.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the total percentage of the water available on the globe,
Mm-hmm.
it's very marginal, right? It's like out of 100%, 2.4% is potable water or drinking water which we can use. And out
Yes.
of
Mm-hmm.
that 2.4%, only 9.4% is available on surface or in our atmosphere. Remaining is
Mm-hmm.
locked in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that 9.4 or 9.6%, only 0.4% is our surface water or atmospheric water.
Mm-hmm.
And that putting to number is 1.4 million.
Okay.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
if we put further this number into perspective, this number is of such a magnitude that on Earth we can give around 1 million liter of water to every person
Mm-hmm.
if we collect
Okay.
everything from the atmosphere. Now,
Yes.
the second thought which comes to it immediately, okay, hey, if you take all the water from atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
how is it going to affect me, right? Because the air
Yes.
which I breathe needs to
Mm-hmm.
be humid air. If I start
Yes.
breathing dry air, I'll die tomorrow,
True.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we have this like similar to the cloud which brings the water comes to the land area from ocean in two forms.
Mm-hmm.
One we can see clearly as cloud, which is humid, or which is a chunk of air which has
Yeah.
humidity which is
Mm-hmm.
more than 100%. So we
Mm-hmm.
can see water as it is. But
Yes.
what about the air which has the humidity less than 100%?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just the humid air. It's not humid air which is 100% humid. So that
Mm-hmm.
humid air, it has water content, but it's not visible to us. But it,
Mm-hmm.
like the cloud coming from the ocean, that's a continuous cycle.
Mm-hmm.
This humidity content also keeps coming continuously from the oceans to us,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of how much water I take
Mm-hmm.
in journey today, or if I how much water I collect in Bangalore today from atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
some amount of humidity is going to be coming again from the oceans via air current
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
replenish that amount of humidity which I've taken out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, so this is my perspective today.
Mm-hmm.
There is no studies done how, what would be impact if we do a very high, or intense atmospheric water capture in a very
Mm-hmm.
localized space.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
uh, so this being the background, we need to start tapping into this key. Okay, how do we collect this atmospheric water,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So the problem comes, like, atmospheric water generator is not a very, it's not an invention. It's just that it's grasping, or it's getting to our minds, or
Mm-hmm.
it's information which is becoming available to public now more than what it
Okay.
used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even 10 years before, if you look at 2010, there were companies which were making water from air, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem which comes is that, how efficiently are you making that? Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
any solutions which we look at, we
Mm-hmm.
have to look at the financial aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
for us
Yes.
to make it really reach to the,
Mm-hmm.
the
Affordability and
humans at the end
accessibility.
user.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct. So the capital cost which we have to put in to make a machine, let's say if you talk about a machine which can take 100 liter of water out, or
Mm-hmm.
what give 100 liter of water from
Mm-hmm.
atmospheric air every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the capital cost and the operating cost were relatively high, quite high.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Today, so what we did was that, so our work is on how the surfaces behave
Mm-hmm.
when the water them. So every
Okay.
surface has different properties. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you cool down temperature of any surface,
Mm-hmm.
condensation will happen. Let's say,
Yes.
natural physics phenomena, we can say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does that condensation happen? That is, it's a function of surface property of, each surfaces. So if I
Yes.
cool
Mm-hmm.
down a wooden surface, or if I cool down a metallic surface, or if I cool
Mm-hmm.
down a copper surface, or if I cool down my skin, or if
Mm-hmm.
I cool down a glass, the rate of condensation or nature of condensation will be different on each of these. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So there are some a particular set of, so the nature of condensation which we are speaking about, it's driven by the chemical properties which is there on the surface,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then the morphology of the surface. Primarily these two. In depth there
Mm-hmm.
are many other, but
Mm-hmm.
primarily on these two.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the nature, okay, uh, where all the condensation is happening naturally, rather
Mm-hmm.
than, we are doing artificial condensation and making water for us to drink. But
Mm-hmm.
where all the condensation is happening naturally. So we come across this two famous examples, that
Mm-hmm.
there is a beetle called Stenopera beetle. It's more studied, so we usually give example of that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
from Namib Desert. We also have many varieties of beetle in our Sahara, in our Thar Desert as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in scientific community, we have studied this more. So
Yes.
this is usually, discussed about.
Mm-hmm.
So this Namib desert has particular type of surface property: hydrophobic, hydrophilic, and then
Yes.
the surface texture.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does, this beetle can make its own water in the night time and
Mm-hmm.
drink.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, right.
Naturally, evolutionary trait it has acquired from the living environment.
Yeah, so nature has enabled this particular
Yes.
species to, live through its life,
Mm-hmm.
and by making its own, the requirements,
Yes.
drinking requirement, or water requirement at least. Similarly, there is a plant called a cacti plant. I think we
Mm-hmm.
all know cacti plant,
Yes.
but cacti plant is a desert species, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this plant also makes its own water.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Yeah.
has a specific set of surface texture which
Mm-hmm.
allows us to collect water in the night time,
Mm-hmm.
send and transfer that water to its root and
Mm-hmm.
live its life.
Yes.
See,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so this is another example of how nature is way like beyond
Yeah.
today's
Ahead
of
of
scientific
yeah.
exploration. We're way
Yes.
ahead of us. So
Mm-hmm.
so this is another example. So we try to see how can we make these surfaces
Mm-hmm.
and do
Okay.
condensation. So
Mm-hmm.
so the machines I was talking about till 2010 or 10, 12 years back, like
Mm-hmm.
we have been doing atmospheric water generation, we
Mm-hmm.
were doing on a flat or a normal metallic surfaces. Like I
Okay.
will cool
Okay.
down a normal metallic surface and then I
Mm-hmm.
collect water. That was the
Mm-hmm.
practice.
Okay.
Now, what we wanted to do that bring this texture of cacti plant or Namib desert plant, beetle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then do the condensation.
Oh, okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
then there this comes this thought that how stable are the things which we are making.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we were
Mm-hmm.
able to have this answer. Okay, we are making this cacti plant inspired texture
Okay.
on
Mm-hmm.
metallic surface, and that is relatively much stable, than
Mm-hmm.
the Namib desert texture which we
Mm-hmm.
could make. So
Okay.
we thought we'll go ahead with this, and we put this
Mm-hmm.
in the system and then test it.
Mm-hmm.
So with this,
Mm-hmm.
once you put this cacti plant inspired morphology or the surface texture
Mm-hmm.
on a metallic surface, and if you cool that down,
Mm-hmm.
the rate of condensation will improve. So what I
Okay.
was
Okay.
making 100 liter before,
Mm-hmm.
now I can make 120 liters
Okay.
by
Mm-hmm.
spending the same amount of energy.
Oh, that's great. Like the bio-inspired design indeed is working, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was the start. Okay, we have some improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start working on it. Today we
Mm-hmm.
have 20% or 15% improvement in a
Mm-hmm.
working sample.
Mm-hmm.
When we continuously work, definitely down the year, after a year or after 2 year or 3, we will have more of
Yes.
efficiencies, and
Mm-hmm.
hence making this practice of collecting water from air uh,
Mm-hmm.
10 years ahead, it has to be more sustainable, more
Yes.
affordable in
Mm-hmm.
terms of opex and capex.
True.
So
Mm-hmm.
so our idea is that we will start today with the current
Mm-hmm.
efficiency of 15-20%.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time comes where the AWG or atmospheric water generators will be part of every home, or the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the urban establishments, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that time we
Yeah.
need to have the system even more affordable.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Without that thought, we started on the making these AWG systems with the additional
Okay.
efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And we are making this in 5 variants, like a 40
Mm-hmm.
liters per day model to
Mm-hmm.
140 liters per day model,
Mm-hmm.
450 liters per day model, 1100 liters per day to 2200 liters per day.
Mm-hmm.
So we do it in a 5 variants so that a home can also use, and then an
Mm-hmm.
office, like if I have 20 people in my office, we can also
Mm-hmm.
use the same model. And then if I
Yes.
have a hotel or
Mm-hmm.
a university or
Yeah.
a office of TCS,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it can be supply water to that group of 50, 100 people, and then even
Mm-hmm.
if for a group of 200 to 500 people also we
Mm-hmm.
can supply water using the bigger
Mm-hmm.
units. So
Okay.
to get
Mm-hmm.
the need of a different groups, set of groups,
Mm-hmm.
and different type of establishment, or the offices or
Mm-hmm.
the houses,
Mm-hmm.
we have made these 5 variants.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. So,
Uh,
really, thank you for sharing the elaborate, about your products and so on. But we'd like to also, take this opportunity to listen from you. What, induced you to start this idea, right? There'd be some point in which you thought, okay, I'm not, pursuing the conventional way of education, job hunting, etc. But I want to start something from my own, like a business or like entrepreneurship journey. How it started from you? Like it was it from IIT or post your course? Like what induced you to start, and what particularly induced you to focus on the water scarcity issue on its own? Can you please share about that?
so the my bachelor's program was in
Mm-hmm.
nanotechnology.
Okay.
So it's not much of a technology or engineering oriented program,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a more of research based
Okay.
engineering oriented program, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So uh, the nature of program was such that you have to be more in research than making robots.
Mm-hmm.
So we were more into the
Yes.
research labs than being in a
Mm-hmm.
workshop. So
Okay.
that was the reason that ki, chalo, the research is something, and then nanotech is something that will be, very very useful or much,
Mm-hmm.
extensively used in the future. So we
Mm-hmm.
started with that. Coming to the water segment, probably I would say it is an accidental or the fortunate incident that has happened that I
Okay.
started working on water. So my
Mm-hmm.
bachelor's thesis project was on making using nanomaterials for
Mm-hmm.
drinking water purposes.
Okay. Okay.
So I started working on this at IIT Madras with Professor Pradeep from
Mm-hmm.
Department of Chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I was not really looking at jobs because
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is a research oriented program. Let's be in research, and I
Okay.
wanted to do PhD.
Mm-hmm.
But back in SRM, from where I did my bachelor's,
Mm-hmm.
we used to run a group ki chalo,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can come up with some idea and
Okay.
we'll support, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
can talk about it. We
Yes.
support as in like we really not giving any
Yeah.
monetary support, but let's talk about it, right? Like
Yes.
why to
Mm-hmm.
talk about only set of okay, there's a
Mm-hmm.
cultural fest, so talk about culture for or
Mm-hmm.
festival segment for one day, and then
Yeah.
uh, you know uh, course curriculum, and then go for a industrial visit, and that's
Mm-hmm.
about it. So
Yes.
whoever just if you want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about music, come here, let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about music, right?
Okay.
If I
Okay.
want to talk about ancient science, that was
Mm-hmm.
my personal interest, I would go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and talk about ancient science. We
Okay.
had this
Okay.
group called support to startup. Like we didn't really
Okay.
had any startup, but we
Okay.
had this group called support for startup for
Mm-hmm.
a tech mania.
Okay.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that was the first kind of initiative which was there back in
Mm-hmm.
2013. Uh, I was trying to get into PhD after my bachelor's, but that didn't happen. But then the nature of work which I was doing at IIT Madras was that make materials, so make bit of do a R&D,
Mm-hmm.
make a prototype out of it, and then test it. So the nature
Mm-hmm.
of robots is that it is putting you in the field. It's
Mm-hmm.
keeping you in the lab, but it's also sending you to field.
Okay. Okay.
Usually, most of the research we do or the result research, we spend much time in the labs. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fortunately, my work was lab as well as the field
The
oriented.
field. Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
reason being this field orientation. So we had
Mm-hmm.
this products, right? So we thought,
Yes.
okay, so something good is coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I was fan of exhibiting at Bangalore Nano. So from
Okay.
our research group, we used to go to Bangalore Nano. So we're like, okay, next
Mm-hmm.
time we'll take something new. This is the product we
Okay.
are going to take there next time.
Mm-hmm.
That really
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen, but that was
Okay.
the motivation sometime, right? Ki, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we'll make something new, and next time when we go to Bangalore Nano, it's a
Okay.
conference on nanotechnology. It's a
Mm-hmm.
one among top conferences in India.
Yes.
So like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, next time we go, we'll take a new product. So that was
Okay.
the drive, and
Uh-huh.
then the this steps of motivation adds up, right? For me
Mm-hmm.
to work for 2 months, this is a motivation, then the
Mm-hmm.
next 2 months you have this, okay, hey, you have this 20% improvement, and then next
Yes.
2 months somebody comes up and say, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
guys are doing good, why don't you try it a product, I will give you
Mm-hmm.
few lakh of rupees, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then so this step of motivation adds up, and then
Mm-hmm.
so this we made a product, we had some progress,
Mm-hmm.
and then we thought, okay, let's register this as a company, and
Mm-hmm.
let's do a startup.
Okay. Okay.
So that time
Mm-hmm.
we started this company. We registered it in 2017. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Once we registered, we got incubated with IIT Madras,
Mm-hmm.
and we got initial seed support, fund support from Engineers India Limited, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
kind of validated everything for us. Okay, you have made
Okay.
something, and then there's somebody who is willing to give you a good chunk of money, which
Mm-hmm.
means
Mm-hmm.
okay, you believe in what you're doing, but then there is a
Yes.
set of people and who are experienced people, they also believe in you, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that time we ki, okay, abhi full time yahi karna hai, right?
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
started, yeah. And since then this is going on. We have
Mm-hmm.
done around 54 projects till now. uh,
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
and we are operating in 16 cities of India.
Great. Yeah, that's great actually. And it's very inspiring to, hear from you about your motivation and the journey itself. And also coming to the challenges, right? Every startup in the initial stage will have multiple challenges. So what were yours like? Where it was getting a team together or, manufacturing challenges, like what were your initial challenges in pursuing your product?
Okay. You will always have challenges in
Yeah.
startup, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I would say startup is like it's a test of you, right? It's a
Yes.
test of a person.
True.
So
The
it's a
motivation, the perseverance, everything it tests,
scary,
right?
but
Yes.
yeah. So it's a very scary but very fruitful journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I say ki I'm scared of startup, but I smile and do my startup, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so we have challenges like how to keep your team together,
Mm-hmm.
and once you have your team, how do you really keep them motivated or keep them aligned? Uh, a startup is something which goes through intense up and intense down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the time when you need to keep key, okay, we have something good, so that the grand picture which we have down the year, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
picture we are talking about 2040, when
Mm-hmm.
probably your house will also have an AWG, my
Yes.
house will also have an AWG,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that picture we have to instill very strongly in mind of the team, that hey,
Mm-hmm.
it's bigger than the problem which we're having today. It's bigger than the problem which could be induced because of a bad financial, or it's bigger than
Mm-hmm.
the problem that it's bigger than
Yes.
you and me personally, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
So definitely team, having a strong team together, keeping that together, it's a challenge. We still
Mm-hmm.
have, we are looking for team members, and so
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's not in current circumstances. We can just
Mm-hmm.
just remove the word of challenges, right? It's a
Yes.
natural practice in startup, right? It's not
Yeah.
really a challenge when you enter a
Yeah.
startup. It's a natural thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
would really call these things challenges. Uh, you know uh, has sometimes having financial crunches,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes having personal, you know uh,
Mm-hmm.
like loss of motivation, or sometimes having a team which you have to keep together. So these are natural
Just a part of the
ingredients of a
process.
startup.
Just a part of the process of
it's
all
it's
startups,
a
right? Yeah.
natural part of process.
Yeah.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
natural part of all the startups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be it the Tata, JRD Tata or Jamshedji Tata, when it started
Before,
200
yes.
years before or
Uh-huh.
150 years before, or take it probably the founder of Jepto, who started
Mm-hmm.
a year before, or take it
Mm-hmm.
from Oyo owner, right? So
Mm-hmm.
whoever has done something
Mm-hmm.
great, these are common ingredients for them.
Yeah.
If
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to stepping into that, these are common ingredients for me also.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and fortunately, those who did great, they had some solutions of these common practices, ki how to
Mm-hmm.
keep the team together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we are also doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, the work which we're doing is a very noble work, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
helps us, even that makes our life little more easier to keep, to go through these problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so. And also coming to the awards, right? You have received the Water Warriors Award. Can you please say about that journey, how it was, and also how it was appreciated in the national front? If you could share some glimpses of it, it'll be great.
uh, so my perspective on this is that, this is something which I learned from my professors. But he one day
Okay.
tells me that, right, Ki, you keep doing work, naturally will come in media. But then then it is just another part. You come in media and then you keep doing work.
Mhm.
You don't focus on that.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Okay. Mhm.
but so when you're doing a good work, there are people who will recognize you, right?
Mhm.
This Water Warrior Award, we also received from, uh, we didn't receive an award from,
Mhm.
but we, like, this Red FM is there, right, in Chennai.
Yes. Yes.
So
Mhm.
they gave us platform key. Okay, we are
Mhm.
looking for certain, what we are calling this Water Warriors. So they were
Mhm.
the first who called us Water Warriors.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then
Mhm.
CN platform,
Mhm.
one day they called us and they told, "Okay, this is what
Mhm.
we are doing, and we guys have selected your name." uh,
Mhm.
so till I do not know what was the selection process they had.
Okay.
But they
Okay.
told these are different categories among students. So they
Mhm.
had people from different categories, from sustainability point of view,
Mhm.
from like sewage water. A
Mhm.
friend of mine who was in sewage water treatment, he was also there.
Mhm.
Uh, so so they told us, this is the what this is a selection list, and we would like
Mhm.
to speak more about it. And
Mhm.
then they had a discussion with us, and then after a discussion of 30-40 minutes, they called us for the, okay, come to
Okay.
Mumbai.
Mhm.
We are hosting an event, and
Mhm.
it was a 1 day event, and it was a uh, the whole event was focused on water, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
probably
Mhm.
all aspect of water,
Mhm.
bringing the aspect of water, and also
Mhm.
bringing all aspect of the system, like the political system, the business system,
Okay.
the startup ecosystem, the
Mhm.
finance system.
Mhm.
So it was a comprehensive activity which has happened, and
Mhm.
we are fortunate that we're part of it, and glad
Yeah.
that they recognized us as water
Mhm.
warrior.
Yeah, it's great. And thank you, Ramesh. And really, it was inspiring, and it was good to have the talk with you. And I'd like to have, get from you two takeaway points for aspiring entrepreneurs, like young entrepreneurs. From your experience, what you would say as two points for them. Mhm.
I think younger generation is better than my generation.
Okay.
So when I say that, I'm actually calling myself an old generation. But
Okay.
I see people like,
Mhm.
so I'm 30 today, so but I see people who are 20 today, and they're
Mhm.
phenomenal. Like, the kind of the risk taking, and I
Yes.
think now the rate of startups which were there 10 years before are the rate of starting a startup is much faster. It's like,
Mhm.
20 years before, what was the trend for doing in engineering,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
that is the trend today. So people are, I think India is on the right trajectory, and
True.
every youngster, or every, even the teen today,
Mhm.
uh, or if I get, they're trying to make something, like
Mhm.
need not be something from innovation front, but they're trying
Yes.
to start something which
Mhm.
and I think again, whoever starts something, naturally
Mhm.
the common
Mhm.
elements are going to play their role, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The common elements being called challenges.
True. Mhm.
So, but the good thing is that we will sail through them. Like,
Mhm.
the one
Mhm.
thing I'm certain of, I do not, have very vast experience, but
Mhm.
whatever the small journey, and through my years I have, it's a one
Mhm.
thing which I'm very confident that we will go through this.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
as an individual, or as a nation
Mhm.
together, or as a team of youngsters, uh,
Mhm.
it's a bright time for us. It's a bright time
Yeah.
for India. We are going
True.
to do something really great.
Yeah.
Something
That
great is,
true. Awaiting,
waiting
right?
for all of us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely.
And yeah, thank you. And it was really a great pleasure talking with you, and also, knowing about your products, startup, and your journey. And yeah, we'd surely meet in another instance for talking and discussing about any other thing in future. Thank you.